Hi guys and welcome to my channel. My name is Cheryl. Thank you very much for joining me. I am sweating. I'm sorry. I don't sweat. I glisten. And my brother always says I glisten like a pig. Just saying. So I apologize for all the sheen, all the glistening. I'm sitting by my patio door again, so hopefully the natural light will be better than, I know you can see the bright light there, but I'll be changing the picture just a little bit to my diamond painting. This video is going to be a whip and chat, and I'm going to be continuing on with the 50 questions you've never been asked YouTube tag that I started a couple weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago. Now I apologize, I still have a cold. My nose isn't running, by the way. When I go like this, I'm not wiping my nose. I just do this whenever I feel like I'm going to sneeze or something. I'm always going like this just to make sure nothing's there. I'm not wiping anything. I realized that in the last video that I did that I look like I'm wiping, but I'm not. I'm just making sure nothing's there. So I've got the 50 questions you've never been asked YouTube tag. I think I did the first 20 in the last video that I did. I do know how to pause the camera now, which I didn't even realize you could do. There's a little pause click thingy that you can click on and then resume. Who knew? So if I have to pause if I start coughing, because I still have a cold, if I start coughing or if my nose runs or something and I have to go get a Kleenex, I will be sniffing a lot. I apologize. Oh, there we go again. I don't know if this is a tick or not, because I have Tourette syndrome, and I don't think this is a tick, but I do this a lot when I have a cold. Or even allergies or anything, I just do this. There's nothing there, but I always do that. It's kind of annoying, because people automatically think you're wiping your nose. I'm not. And then I always sniff. I always go like this. And there's two ways you can take that. It looks like I'm snorting up Coke, or I'm like dripping, so I'm sniffing. And that's not what I'm doing. My dad does the same thing. He sniffs a lot, and he's not sniffing because he needs to. He just sniffs. And I do the same thing. So I don't know if it's a tick or if it's a habit. I don't know. I don't think it's a tick, but because I only do it when I have a cold. So I don't think it's a tick. Go figure. I'm a little strange. My doctor always called me a strange cookie. Anyways, so I've got the rest of the questions. We're going to try and get through the rest of them today. So there'll be 30 questions. If my throat leaves me, then I'll have to do a part 3. But let's get started. I'm going to change the focus. Now, I did check out on my camera how well this looks, and it does look better than last time, I think. So we're going to hopefully work it. This is upside down. I'm working on my Disney one again, my princesses. And I really want to get this one done. I'm enjoying doing it. I don't think it's a clear picture, so I don't know if I'll keep it. I'll probably keep it, but I don't know if I'll frame it or anything, but I do enjoy doing it. So we're just going to peel this back, and then I'm going to change. How am I going to do this? I haven't decided how I'm going to do this yet. Okay, so let's move the camera. Bye! I'm going to put the camera towards the diamond painting. Excuse the mess in my house. It is a big mess. I've got boxes and garbage bags all over, full of junk from my storage center out in my patio. I had to empty it all, and I've got everything all over. I haven't had anybody help me take them to the garbage yet, so excuse the mess. See if you can see boxes and things, and I apologize. But there you go. Can you see the picture? All right. So let's get started. I've got my Diet Coke with me too, so hopefully if I start coughing, I can just take a drink and I'll be fine. I apologize for my throat being croaky. I don't know if we'll get through all 30 questions because it's just a little bit too much for me, I think, today, but I wanted to do this today. I wanted to finish this tag quite a while ago, but I ended up getting sick, so okay. And I apologize if I start coughing. If I start really coughing a lot, I'll pause the video because I know how to do that now. So let's pick a color to do first. I think what I'll do is X, which is, I go to the chart number 22. So we'll pour some in here. There we go. 22. And we'll shake it up. Okay. So number 21 in the questions, I believe I finished off at 20. So number 21 is, do you know who Kermit the Frog is? Who doesn't? I'm sorry, but I mean, the kids of these days, they missed out a lot if they don't know who Kermit the Frog is. I mean, how's the song go? Oh, I can't think of the song now. The green song. What's that song? It's not easy being green. That was the coolest song. I loved Kermit the Frog. I still do. He was probably my favorite Muppet character, and Sesame Street and everything. And Sesame Street's changed so much from when I was a kid. I gotta tell you that much. Sesame Street was really cool when I was a kid, and now it's so politically correct that it's just not fun anymore. You know? It's like they don't even use imagination anymore because you have to be politically correct. And I know it's not really that way, but it feels that way to me. I don't like the new Sesame Street and all that. I did like watching Muppets growing up, like the Muppets. My favorite Muppets movie is Muppets Christmas Carol. That is always my favorite. I watch it every year as much as I can. I always love the Christmas Carol, and I think the Muppets Christmas Carol is just hilarious. I love it. I think I also like the, what's the one? The first one they did where they go to, don't know if it's the first or the second one they did, but the movie where they went to Broadway. I like that one. And I always loved Kermit the Frog. I liked his little cousin too. Wasn't his name Robin or something? I liked him too. But Kermit the Frog was probably the first Muppet I ever fell in love with. That and Grover. And I always liked Super Grover on Sesame Street. Not just Grover, but Super Grover. I don't know why, but I did. Number 22. What is the first amusement park you've been to? Okay, so that's a hard question. I remember writing this down and thinking, I don't even remember, because it was either the first big one I went to and the only big one I went to was Peony in Vancouver, back when I was about 6 or 7 years old. But we went to small ones like, I don't know if you consider it an amusement park, but Bedrock City and Old MacDonald's Farm in Kelowna, which is was a big city to us because we lived in a small little town at the time. But the Peony in Vancouver was huge to us. I mean, it's nothing compared to like Disneyland and stuff, but I've never been to anywhere bigger than that. Don't really like amusement parks. I don't like roller coasters. I went on a roller coaster at the Peony and I immediately got sick. But I don't like roller coasters. Basically, the reasons why I don't like roller coasters is because it hurts my neck. I always get sore necks after roller coasters. I've been on like 3, and each and every time it jerks my neck, and I have neck problems for the next 2 weeks kind of thing. So I don't like roller coasters. It's not that I'm scared. I don't mind the scariness. But I mean, as far as amusement rides go, I'm kind of I like the haunted ones, the haunted rides where you go in a boat and you go through the haunted ones. I mean, those are old. I mean, I'm talking like years ago. But I like those ones, and I like the love ones and stuff. My friend and I. Here's a good story. My friend Brina and I, we used to hang out at Bedrock City all the time in Kelowna. And Bedrock City is like Flintstones place, and it's got rides. It's got like different, it's just really neat. It's got sculptures and big things, the houses where they lived and all that stuff, and they've got creatures and stuff. And they had a boat ride where it was free, and you got to go in a little paddle boat around a river, like around a little pond thing. And we used to go on that all the time, and we would, my friend and I would have splash, like we would splash each other and have water fights and stuff. And it was just so much fun. It was relaxing. It was fun. We got to talk while we rode. It was just wonderful. So I think my best memory of any kind of like an amusement park would be Bedrock City. And then the water slides were right next door. And we used to get passes to both of them, where you can get it cheaper to go to both of them. So that's what we did every summer. So we practically lived there. And yeah, so that's what we did. That's basically all the experience I have at amusement parks. I'm not really wanting to go to one. I think if I were to go to one, I would like to go to Disneyland sometime. And I don't want to go for the rides. I want to go for the princesses and the castles and the light shows and stuff like that. I'm not really into rides, so. Okay, number 23. What language besides your native language would you like to be fluent in? Well, I'm Canadian, so I would like to be fluent in French. I took it in school for many years. It was something you had to take in school. Being that French is the Canadian language, French and English. In high school, I took a bit of Spanish, and I liked that. I didn't learn a lot of either language. I learned the basics. I know basic French and like that. I learned enough to write it, but not to speak it. So I took a lot of school by correspondence or by distance education. So I didn't have anybody to talk to in French, as you would in a class. You would talk to your fellow students or with your teacher in French, and I never did that. I just had a tape recorder with my teacher telling me what to say. So I feel bad about that now. I wish I'd spent more time learning how to pronounce things and stuff. Basically, I just learned enough to get by, and I learned enough to write down the answers. And once I wrote down the answers, I got them right, and that was that. I never really learned how to converse in French. I know parlez-vous français and je t'aime and merci beaucoup and, basic phrases I know. But, and I think if I were to get back into it, I would learn it pretty quickly. I would remember things and I would learn pretty quickly. I just haven't really done it. I think maybe I should. That's probably a good idea. Because I would love to go to Quebec sometime. I live in BC, and I would love to go to Quebec sometime. I almost went to Quebec a couple years ago. It was actually a guy I met online, wanted me to come to Quebec. Turned out I didn't trust him, and I ended up not going, which was good because it turned out he wasn't the guy I thought he was. So, I mean, he was a real guy. He wasn't a scammer or anything, but he just wasn't the guy that I thought he was. As far as morals and stuff go. So, we ended up not getting together, but, Quebec, yeah, I'd love to go to Quebec sometime. Spanish, I would love to learn how to speak Spanish too. I think I really enjoyed Spanish as far as I learned. I only did Spanish for about a year, and I really didn't learn much during that year. So, again, I learned how to speak it. I learned the proper verbs to, I forget what you call it when you change the verbs and stuff. That's basically all I learned. I learned numbers and letters, and, that's about all I learned during that year. So I would like to learn Spanish too. Again, Spanish is very prolific. What's the word I'm looking for? Not prolific. What's the word? Where there's a lot of Spanish in Canada as well. So I would like to learn Spanish. That'd be cool. My niece learned Latin, which couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I could learn Latin. My friend Brina learned German because her grandmother's from Germany. So she was able, when her grandmother was alive, she was able to talk to her in German while she was learning it. So that was really cool. But for me, I don't have any family members that speak anything other than English. So I had nobody to talk to. Again, because I didn't go to school, I took it by distance education. So I did everything by mail back then. Now there's more different things you can get involved in with other students and stuff, but back then it was all done by mail, and it was not a very good system. I mean, this is like 30 years ago, so, or not 30, 25 years ago, so it was not a very, it was a great system, but it was not a very inclusive system where you could get together with other students and teachers and things like that, so. Okay, next question. Do you spell the word as gray, G-R-E-Y, or gray, G-R-A-Y? Never thought of that before. I think I'm going to change colors here. I think, hold on a sec. I think I probably spell it G-R-A-Y. I don't even know which is the Canadian version and which is the, like, I know there's a British version and a US version. I don't know which is which. I kind of go from, I remember in school, we had gray as a spelling test word, and I spelled it the, quote-unquote wrong way, and I got it wrong. And I remember going to the teacher, I'm like, that's not wrong in, like, US, so why are you marking it wrong? The next test we had, I spelled it the way they wanted me to spell it, and I still got it wrong. And I was like, what way do you want me to spell it? This is ridiculous. And she ended up giving me full marks. She's like, I'm sorry, I didn't see that. I'm like, yeah, well, if you're going to teach it to spell it one way, then keep it consistent in that way. So, yeah. I'm not sure how I spell it. I've never really thought of that. I guess most times I spell it E-Y, I think. But I think British and Canadian is A-Y, I think. Isn't it? Comment below and let me know. I'm not sure. I think I spell it E-Y most of the time. Okay, I'm just going to take a sip of my pop. Nice cold Diet Coke. Okay. Is your father bald? That's a good question. My father is mostly bald. He has a bit of hair. He has kind of hair around a bald spot. He sometimes shaves all his hair, but most of the time it's just a bald spot. He's always been that way as long as I've known him. When he was younger, he had a full head of hair, of course, but as much as I remember him growing up, he's always had a bit of a bald spot, so I still think he's handsome, so it doesn't matter. Oh my goodness, sorry about that. Do you know triplets? I don't know any personally. Sorry. I did used to look after twins in our nursery at church, twin little girls. I knew a twin boy and girl, and the only triplets I know of are the triplets on, what's that show? The Parent Trap, the triplet ones on the Parent Trap movies. I used to love those. Who is it? Leanne Creel, Joy Creel, and is it Megan or Monica? I don't remember if it's Monica or Megan, because in the show she's either Monica or Megan, and then the other name is the real name of hers. I think it's Monica. I loved growing up watching them in movies, in the Parent Trap 3 movies. I enjoyed those. I loved them. I thought they were the coolest girls in the world. They're the only triplets I really know of. Yeah. I'm going all over on this picture. I'm supposed to be working over there, and now I'm working over here, but I don't really mind. I work where I feel like working, you know? I don't have a specific, like, I finished this whole area, but number 20, no, number 26, no, number 27. Do you prefer Titanic or The Notebook? Oh my goodness. That's a hard one. I like The Notebook because it was one of the first movies I watched as a young adult who is starting to watch movies that are not just PG children's movies. Like PG-13 children's movies. It was my first movie with basically a sex scene kind of thing. So it was nostalgic in that way. I did enjoy the movie. I read the book. I thought Nicholas Sparks was the best author in the world. Since then, I have heard some very not so good things about the author, and I refuse to buy his books now. But I do have a few of his books that I had bought earlier that I enjoyed. I'm not going to get into what is being said about him. I'm sure you can go online and find out about that. There are just some standards that some authors have come to, and me being an author, I'm very aware of them. There are some things you just don't do as authors, and some things you just don't say as authors. And some things he has said and done is just disrespectful to other authors that are well known. Let's just say it that way, okay? I believe in the writing community we should support all authors and not judge them for who they are. And just, if you are an author, you support other authors. You don't just say, I'm the best, and that's that kind of thing. Got more into that than I wanted to, sorry. Anyway, so I did like The Notebook. I watched the movie first. I read the book after. I watched A Walk to Remember as well and loved that movie by Nicholas Sparks. Since then, I've watched probably all of his movies that were adapted to movies. The Notebook had problems, but it was a pretty good book. I liked it. Or a pretty good movie and book, actually. I like, what's his name on the movie? Oh goodness, I can't think of his name. You know, him. I can see him. I can't think of his name. Anyways, I think he is really cool. I think he's a good actor. And the girl was a good actor as well. I forget her name too. That's not very good. But anyways. Titanic was a movie that I watched as a teenager, or as a young adult. I think I was like 19 or something. I liked it. My parents were very strict on what movies we watched. So when I was like 18 or 19 is when I started branching out and watching what I wanted to watch and deciding for myself what is good and what isn't. Now, I don't blame my parents on that. I think they did a great job raising us. I think as a child, you shouldn't be watching these kinds of movies. If I had children, they wouldn't be watching Titanic at like 12 years old. That's not going to happen. So, just because of explicit sex scenes and the nudity. So I don't blame my parents for that, but I was a little late getting to the party and watching movies that were popular. So I think I was actually probably 18 or 19 when it came out, maybe 16, I'm not sure. And I was probably about 21 when I actually watched it. I did enjoy it. I didn't really like the nudity scenes. As I said, I'm a Christian, so I don't really like watching nudity, but I did enjoy the movie. Leo DiCaprio, I've always liked him since he was on Growing Pains, and I liked him right away on Growing Pains when he was playing, forget his name that he played, but he played a guy that was homeless, and Growing Pains was one of my favorite TV shows, so I knew him as soon as I saw him on Titanic. I recognized him. I'm like, oh, that guy's from Growing Pains, so really liked him. I think he's a great actor. So, all in all, to answer that question, I don't know whether I like Titanic or Notebook better. I would probably say The Notebook. Um, After all I said about Nicholas Sparks, I would probably say The Notebook is my favorite out of the two. I do like Titanic, though, so I don't know. Okay. Have you ever had Indian food? I'm sure I have. I probably had a samosa a couple times. I don't like spicy foods, so, I'm sure I've had it before, like when we went to restaurants and stuff. I know I've tried really spicy food before, so I'm pretty sure it was Indian. I don't enjoy it. I tried a samosa recently, actually, probably about a year ago, and I just did not like it. It was too hot. But I don't know if samosas are actually Indian food or not. I don't really know what it includes, but I think samosas are Indian food, aren't they? I think so. But I don't eat it, so too hot for me, too spicy. The name of your favorite restaurant? Oh my goodness, I've got lots of favorite restaurants. Growing up, my favorite restaurant was Smitty's. It was a restaurant that was in Canada. I don't think it was in the US, and I don't know about the UK. It was my favorite restaurant. It's not around very often anymore. You don't see it very often, and it's not as good as it used to be. I like fast food restaurants like McDonald's and Dairy Queen because they're cheap. Well, they used to be cheap. They're not exactly cheap anymore, but I like the Home Restaurant in BC. Those are pretty good. It's called the Home Restaurant. I like Chinese food, so any Chinese restaurant, buffet restaurant. I used to like, no, actually I didn't. My dad used to like a fish place called Skipper's in BC, but, so we went there a few times. I didn't really like it. One of my favorite places that we don't have in the town I live in right now that I wish we did is Taco Time. Taco Time is like the US's Taco Bell, except now I think now it's called Taco Bell. I think Taco Bell might have bought it or something. But back when I was growing up, it was called Taco Time. And it was the best restaurant. It had the best soft burritos and Mexi fries, and oh, it was so good. But I haven't been to a Taco Time in probably 15 years, so yeah. We had a restaurant here in Merritt that was really good for a long time, and then they sold it to another owner, and this owner got a new chef, and the food went downhill, and it was too expensive and all that, but they used to make the best soup. And like in the winter, my friend and I would go and we would buy soup, and it was the best soup, and it was cheap, and it was so good, but not anymore. Okay. Have you ever been to Olive Garden? No, I have not. I don't think I have. Is there an Olive Garden in Canada? I think there is. I think I maybe went once. I'm not sure. I don't remember. Not very often. If I did go, it's only been once. I have a feeling I went once, because I think it is in Canada. Do you belong to any warehouses, Costco's, BJ's, etc.? No, I don't. I've been to Costco. I had friends who have a Costco membership, so I've been there, but I've never had the money to join, and it's like, to me, Costco's no big deal because I don't have room to store things, so to buy in bulk really wouldn't help me because I have nowhere to store it all. I only have a very small freezer, and the prices really aren't any better if you compare the prices to, I mean, they're good prices if you bought in bulk, but I can't buy in bulk because I have nowhere to store them. My freezer and fridge are a mini fridge and mini freezer, so can't store food there. And I mean, they have a couple good deals with stationery and stuff like that, but it's not really anything I'm interested in, so. And really, that's the only membership thing we have in BC. I don't think we have a BJ's or anything. What would your parents have named you if you were the opposite gender? You know what? I really don't know. I asked my parents that once, and they told me they never had a boy's name because they had two boys before me. And my mother, she was a diabetic. And back then, back 40 years ago, diabetics were told they shouldn't be having kids. So she had two kids. And when she got pregnant the third time, because she desperately wanted a girl, I mean, she loved my brother, she always did, but she really wanted a girl. When she got pregnant with me, the doctor said, "That's it. That's the last kid. You're not having any more. I will. You cannot have any more. It's too dangerous." So, I mean, now they realize you can have kids as diabetics, but back then it was a no-no. So she knew this was going to be her last kid, and she was so desperate to have a girl that she refused to believe it was a boy. And, back 40 years ago, they didn't have the thing where the ultrasound where you could tell if it was a boy or girl, so she spent 9 agonizing months trying not to think of the fact that it could be a boy. So they never picked out a boy's name. They were so determined it was a girl, they just didn't pick out a boy's name. So I really don't know what my parents would have named me if I was a boy. If you have a nickname, what is it? Okay, so I do have a few nicknames. Growing up, my mom called me baby or babe all my life, up until the day she died when I was 31. My dad calls me babe sometimes, but most of the time he calls me Cheryl or Shirley, which I've told you before on this channel, but I'll tell you quickly again. When I was a kid, I loved Anne of Green Gables, the movie with Megan Follows in it. And I still do, but that was a movie I watched over and over and over again. And I told my dad, my name is not Cheryl, it's Anne with an E. And so to tease me, he started calling me Shirley. Kiss Anne Shirley. Up until a year ago, I didn't even know why he called me Shirley. He just always called me Shirley. So I didn't even know. And then finally I asked him probably about a year ago. And he's like, because of Anne Shirley. I'm like, oh, I didn't even get that. So, yeah, I've been called Shirley all my life by him. I do have a new nickname. My friend who lives here in Merritt, she calls me Cher Bear. So my name is Cheryl, and she calls me Cher Bear. And, yeah, I have a friend who also calls me Shay, C-H-E-Y. Don't know why she started calling me Shay, she just did. She wanted to call me Cher, and I said, no, I'm not Cher. I don't like that name. But, Cher Bear is okay, and Shay is fine, so she started calling me Shay. Those are my nicknames. My brother calls me Little Sis. My other brother calls me Pain in the Neck. No. He usually just calls me Cheryl, so. Who's your favorite person in the world? That is easy. That would be my mom. My mom and I were extremely close. Some people would say too close. I don't say that. We did everything together. She passed away 10 years ago. Just her 10th anniversary of her death was just last month. I'm not crying, I'm just sniffing. It was last month was the 10th anniversary of her death. And we were extremely close. We did everything together. She stood up for me through everything that I went through. She was my best friend, sometimes my worst enemy. She was my mother when she needed to be. She was my best friend when she needed to be. She was everything. She was my everything. I never did anything without talking to her about it. Yeah, she was my world, and I miss her so much. But I know she's in heaven, and she's happy and healthy, and running around, and praising God and everything, so I'm looking forward to going to heaven and seeing her sometime, and spending eternity with her again. But yeah, my mom is my favorite person in the world. Apart from her, I would probably say Kendra, who is my little sweetheart. She is, I always call her my little sweetheart. She's the little girl I used to babysit 2 years ago, and we still keep in contact every week. We talk on the phone, and she's my everything. The moment she came into my life was just magic. We connected just like that, and she changed my life 100%. I was kind of a depressed lady. I didn't see my worth in life, and then she came into my life, and I had a responsibility of looking after her, like between 4 and 10 hours a day, and I had her mom and dad trusting me with her and asking my advice, and just her mom and dad and I got along like so easily. We've never fought about anything to do with Kendra. We've never even fought about anything, but not to do with Kendra. At least, I love Kendra like a daughter. She's I haven't seen her in 2 years. Hopefully that'll change soon, but yeah, we still talk every week or two on the phone. It's been about 3 weeks since I've talked to her just because I had the bad cold. I want to be able to talk to her for a long time without my throat hurting. Because, like, after I'm done this video, I'm going to not be able to talk for the rest of the day. I'm hoping to call her this weekend, so that'll be really nice. There's some things going on in her life right now that I want to talk to her and make sure she knows that I'm here for her. She needs me. Of course, I'm not going to get into it because it's not really anybody's business. It's nothing real serious or anything, but just little things are going on that I want her to know that I'm here for her. She needs to talk. Yeah, so Kendra is my little sweetheart, and I will love her forever. I hope I will know her forever. I will always keep her in my prayers and my thoughts. Even if we lose contact, she will always be my little sweetheart. And that's that. I call her Babe because my mom used to call me Babe, so I call her Babe. And it's funny when I call her, sometimes I'll be like, hey, Kendra. She's like, no, Babe. I'm like, sorry, Babe, sorry. So, would you rather be in a rural area or the suburbs? Okay, I'm going to act real stupid because when I learned geography in school, I had to learn the difference between rural and suburbs, and I always got it wrong. Rural is like farmland, right? It's like in areas like where there's not a lot of people around, and suburbs is where it's like a city kind of thing, right? Is that right? I think it is. I don't know. I'm kind of a city girl, but I live in a small town, so I don't know. I like being around stores where you can go and get things, but I don't necessarily like being around big cities. Although I like the fact that you could, if you live in a big city, you just go anywhere and you'll find a mall kind of thing. I like that. I don't know. I'm kind of both. I'm kind of like a small town girl and a city girl. So I think I'd be happy anywhere as long as it was the right place. Yeah. Another sip of my pop. What time do we have? Okay. More than one sip, sorry. Let's see, what number are we on? We're on 36. I think we're going to stop the video now. We'll stop at 35, and I'll do a third part where I go from number 36 to 50. Hi! How you doing? I hope you enjoyed the video. My throat's starting to get very sore, so I'm going to stop the video. And give me a thumbs up if you please, because it does help my channel get to be seen in other people's feeds, that, you know, like the suggested feeds, and so my video gets seen more. I don't get a lot of views on my channel. It doesn't bother me. I have hardly any subscribers, but I enjoy doing the videos, and if you enjoy watching them, that's all that matters to me. So give me a thumbs up, though, and it does matter a little bit on the views, because you know, I like to know people are watching and that they like what I'm doing. So, yeah, I did quite a bit on here. I did, not a lot, but quite a bit. Does that make sense? Not a lot, quite a bit. Can you tell I'm getting hot and tired? Anyways, thank you very much for watching. God bless you and all you do. Have a great day. Bye, guys.